Welcome to my channel on the best of fantasy. These are the weeks that were, are, and shall be. It has been a very long time, almost 3 months, between 2 and 3, since I filmed an episode of the weeks that were, but I have been busy on the channel, so let me share my news with you, and let's find out what I've been up to. First of all, I want to announce that the Edan trilogy is now complete on audiobook. That is right. Alan Walker, my amazing audiobook narrator, finished recording Return to Edan, Book 3 in the Edan trilogy, and it's now out, finally, after all the engineering stuff and Audible doing its thing and all of that. It is out. All 3 books are available, so if you're an audiobook listener and if you were waiting for the entire trilogy to come out, or if you just want to hear what a fantastic job Alan has done, what a professional job he's done with this narration. It's just incredible, the range of voices that he has, that he's brought to this endeavor. I'm amazed listening to his performance. And yeah, of course, I appreciate your support as well. If you do go ahead and get the audiobooks, because they're expensive. They're very expensive to produce. It will be a while before I see a return on investment for these, but this is, of course, a labor of love. This is a passion project, and I'm really happy to be able to offer the Edan trilogy now in this format, because I know that a lot of people, for lots of great reasons, almost exclusively listen to audiobooks, and that's how they get their stories. And I think that's great, having become a fan myself of audiobooks in the last year and a half or so. So, yeah, that's a big announcement. Another big announcement, one more big announcement, book-wise. The Italian translation of The Way of Edan, La Via di Edan, is out. The wonderful, brilliant Abel Montero produced this translation, another labor of love. It took him about a year to do this, and he has really done a great job. From what I've heard, I do not read Italian very much at all, but I have heard some really great feedback from folks who have checked out the translation. So yeah, it's out there, it's in the world, and if you do read Italian, I would very much appreciate you supporting this because, first of all, Abel is a joy to work with. He's a really fantastic person, and he is an author in his own right, has a wonderful channel that you should check out. But yeah, it's a thrill to me because I do love languages. That my book has been translated into another language. So I had a whole conversation with him about this on the channel, about translating The Way of Edan, if you want to check that out. So on the channel, what I've been up to, I'm going to make this as fast as I can because it's been a while since I've done this, but really quickly just running through what I've done since the last episode of the weeks that were. We've got a series of videos that I've been doing on, I feel, interesting topics, and simultaneously highlighting indie authors. So I think this has been working pretty well, as opposed to just doing a straightforward review of an indie author's book, because not many people have heard of the indie authors so much. So it can be hard to attract viewers to simply just a review of their book. Even a discussion with an indie author about their books tends not to get a whole lot of views, but if I can make it related to a topic that lots of people are interested in, we tend to get more eyes on the indie author's books that way, which I think is a good thing. So yeah, I've been doing this series, and I have done some earlier, but the ones that are more recent, I did one on slow-paced fantasy with Palmer Pickering, author of Heliotrope, a book that I really enjoyed, and I think it's a solid comparison to Realm of the Elderlings, that kind of writing. So I obviously feel very highly about that. I had another one about history and fantasy, the incorporation of history into fantasy, with the author Micah Harris, a wonderful, very intelligent individual, the author of a series called The Agents of the Runestone Ring, and I read the first book and I've had a great time with it. Micah has a wonderful sense of humor, and it does come through in his writing. So check out that discussion. I had a chat about genre blending with J.C.M. Byrne, the author of the Hybrid Helix series. Joe and I had a great time talking about various works within fantasy that also could be science fiction or horror or whatnot, just the genre blending, what that can bring to storytelling. Had a great conversation with Joe, lots of insights there, and I love his Hybrid Helix series. I've just finished listening to the second one, which was the occasion for talking with Joe, but I've got the third one on deck. I'll be talking about that later. And then there was a discussion with Kayi Eso on her Chinese-inspired fantasy, Time Becomes Relevant, which was going on a Kickstarter. And I think that she is one of the most fun people to talk to. I had a really grand time talking with her. And she is also a professor of psychology. So she had some wonderful insights to share about psychology and writing. So that was a really fun conversation. And then I had one more on reimagining myths with the perfect author for this in Matt Larkin, the author of the Eschaton Cycle. And this is a huge Cosmere-like, in terms of ambition, series within the series. The Eschaton Cycle is their largest series, and I listened on audiobook to the Apples of Edan, which is actually the first book, but it's an earlier form of the first book in what is the Ragnarok prophecy, which is a series within the Eschaton Cycle that is Norse-inspired, obviously. And Matt was kind enough to have this really amazing special edition sent to me. It's quite stunning. It's got a lot of really fantastic art in there. It's got great font. This is really amazing. The first book being The Deluding of Gylfi, which I listened to an audiobook in the form of its earlier form, The Apples of Edan. I mean, check out that art. Oh my goodness. I believe that has to be Tyr, I would guess, because of the missing hand, perhaps. This is tremendous stuff. And I had a great time chatting with Matt about the modern fantasy that retells myth. And that was a discussion that's very fascinating for me as someone who is a huge fan of myth and mythological retellings and whatnot. So yeah, that's a bunch of discussions I've had. I also had 2 Dear Dr. Fantasy episodes, one with the wonderful Dylan from Spaced Out Reads, who got me started on the Sun Eater series. More about that later. We'll be talking about Sun Eater here in a moment. But Dylan's just a great guy, and I had a great time chatting with him. And the other Dear Dr. Fantasy episode that I had was with Michael from Author Adjacent. And I had a great time chatting with Michael, and also had some appearances on his channel, which I'll mention in a jiffy here. And what else have I been doing here? Well, I had a discussion about The Other Wind. This was back in January, so yes, it has been a long time since I've done an episode of The Weeks That Were, but I had a discussion on The Other Wind, the 5th and final novel in the Earthsea series. And joining me for that discussion were some wonderful people, Evie, Anita, and Kim. I had a great time. Really, anytime I read anything Earthsea, it's like coming home. It's just such a beautiful experience, and I'm happy to say I've read all of the Earthsea books now. So yay! And I still haven't made that Earthsea video that I want to make, and I hope I'll have time and the energy to do that this year. That's something I'm short on, really, both time and energy, because of how much I've been doing, a lot of stuff at work. Everything's good, but I have been a little overwhelmed with everything, so I'm a bit behind on some things. But I still have that ambition to make that all things Earthsea video, why you should read kind of thing, or why I love Earthsea. And another thing that I love that I have been doing is the GGKR, the great guy Gavriel Kay read. This is something I'm doing with Evan from The Nerd Writer. He and I are going through all 16 books, all the novels published by Guy Gavriel Kay. This has been we're 5 books in. We started actually with Tagana, but now we're doing everything in publication order. So we went back to do the Fiona of Our Tapestry. We did all 3 books in that. And we also have done a song for Arbonne. And just had a fantastic time chatting. And we've been joined by some wonderful people. So for the Fiona of Our Tapestry, we were joined by P.L. Stewart, the wonderful, gracious P.L. Stewart, and also Aaron, who has a fantastic channel. Aaron is an academic. Dr. Keating is a professor of literature who has wonderful insights. And Dr. Keating will also be joining us for a future discussion. I'm very excited about, I'll be talking about that in a moment, but joining us for A Song for Arbonne were Joanna and Josh from Red Fury Books. They love A Song for Arbonne. We're talking about like favorite book of all time kind of status here. And we had such a great conversation. We talked for 2.5 hours about A Song for Arbonne. And it didn't feel like 2.5 hours. It felt like maybe an hour. But we were just all so enamored with the book and having a great time with the discussion. So if that's one you've read and you want to hear some people gushing about it, check out that discussion. I also released my One Piece video on Wano Act 2. And I am ashamed to say that I am not ready yet for my Act 3 video, which I may even be splitting into 2 parts. I am behind on my One Piece reading for sure. It is a lot of work and time and effort for me. I love just reading it. That's fun. But making the videos involves a lot of prep for me. I put more time into my One Piece videos really than anything else. So maybe that has been intimidating me a little bit. But as I said, I've been just super busy with work and other things. But I am excited to get back into Wano and to finish Wano with Act 3, which is the big, long one. So it may take me a little bit. And maybe I'll split that into 2 parts. That is most likely. But I am very, very excited to get back into One Piece. It is my happy place. And I am very excited about catching up, being current in One Piece. I have big ideas and plans for when that finally happens. So yes, what else? My goodness, I did a lot of things here. I had a great discussion with my good friend Brian, the Grand Poobah of the Quill Illuminati, and also the genius behind BellTube. And now he has this wonderful project that I really want to urge people to support. This discussion I had with him, you can check it out if you haven't seen it, but it's about Bell Works Audio. And Brian has really, I think, had a fantastic idea here. And he's put a lot of effort into getting things organized for a Kickstarter, which I definitely urge you to check out and support because he wants to produce really fantastic audiobooks. And if you're an audiobook fan and you want to see someone succeed in producing some really great books, giving them a kind of boutique type treatment, finding the right narrator for the books, and finding the right audience for them. Brian, he is such a great person, and he is a great networker. He loves these stories. He's passionate about stories. He's the right person for this project. So I hope more people will check that out and lend a hand. I mean, just, he's willing to take $5, for this Kickstarter. If enough people would just chip in, even for the price of a cup of coffee at Starbucks or whatever, it will be a thing. So hopefully that will happen. I also had a good old-fashioned review. Yes, that's right, a dedicated review. And it was on Daughter of Crows by Mark Lawrence, which I thoroughly loved. And I think anyone who has a taste for a bit of grimdark, but I would say grimdark with some hope in it. So whatever that's called these days, there are all these genre labels out there. But Mark Lawrence, even when he does grimdark, there is, with the possible exception of the Broken Empire trilogy, which is real grimdark, but everything else he's done is not really grimdark. But this is as close as he's come to coming back to grimdark, I would say. But there's still hope in there, or at least friendship. I would say friendship is a theme that he comes to again and again and again and deals with really, really well. And the way he portrays particularly broken people, but the ability of broken people to find friendship and connection and meaning in a hostile world. That is something that Lawrence does really, really well. And then I had a chat with Alan from the Library of Alexandria about the Edan trilogy and making the audiobooks. I think it was a fun discussion. If you know Alan at all, you know how fun he is. So if you just want to hear us chat, it's non-spoiler for quite some time. So you could check out that part. But if you've read the Adan trilogy, you can watch the entire video. No spoilers in there for While Darkness Gathers, the sequel to the Adan trilogy, because Alan has not read it yet. And he will be producing that audiobook as well. So I'm very excited about that. And I played host to a group of really wonderful indie authors. And we had just a very, I think, helpful discussion for anyone who is considering being an indie author, or anyone who is curious about what it's like to be an indie author. We gave out a lot of tips during that discussion. And so, yeah, that was I felt a very productive and fun time. And I urge you to check it out. And finally, I also hosted a discussion of Empire of Silence Book 1 in the Sun Eaters series. This was really something for me. I went into Book 1 knowing that some of the inspirations, such as Dune and Book of the New Sun, would be pretty evident on the page, and I did find that. But I also found myself really, really enjoying what Christopher Rocchio did here. I just thought he did a tremendous job, even with those influences being fairly obvious. He is doing something different, and he's doing something really grand in this series, I feel, so far. So I really enjoyed it and had a fantastic time chatting about Book 1, Empire Silence, with John and Jacob from Talking Story, and with Dylan from Spaced Out Reads, and with Janny Wirtz, the author, Janny Wirtz, who thinks very highly of Sun Eater and is rereading it to join these discussions that we're having. So if you're a fan of Sun Eater, check them out. We will be talking about Howling Dark very, very soon. I actually finished listening to Howling Dark. I've been doing it by audiobook. And so I'm going to save my thoughts for the discussion, but wow, I'll just say wow. There was that ending. Whoa. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about all that. Elsewhere, really quickly here, I've been doing a lot of things and with a lot of really wonderful and gracious people. I was a guest on the Indie Fantasy Club, having a discussion about SPFBO. I was a guest on RJ Gibson's channel for his Who Wants to Be a Millionaire show, which was a blast, and I actually won. If you want to see me win $1 million, check it out. And I also was in a discussion of Magician, with John and Brian. This was originally going to be, this is Raymond Feist Magician, which has been, you can either read it as one book, or you could do Magician Apprentice and Magician Master. But we talked about both. John hosted that one on Talking Story. It was originally going to be a Quill Illuminati read, but unfortunately at the last minute, Mike was unable to attend that. But Mike is hosting a read-along on his channel of the Magician Trilogy in the Rift War, the first 3 books in Rift War, essentially. So that's going on. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. Although I had no electricity, I lost my electricity like 15 minutes before the discussion was supposed to start. So I was actually using my phone for as long as it lasted. The battery did die, unfortunately. But I had candlelight. I was there by candlelight. So that is dedication for you, I guess. And what else was I doing? Oh, The Witchwood Crown. I'm in the middle of Tad Williams' series, the amazing Tad Williams. I'm loving the Last King of Austin Ard series, which is the follow-up to Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn. I'm between Gavriel Kay and Tad Williams this year. I am going to have to revise my favorites, my list of favorites. I don't think I'll ever dare make another top 10 video, but if I do, those two are definitely going to have to be on it. I don't know how what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna juggle it all, but I'm just having so much fun with The Last King of Austin Ard. And so yes, I was in a discussion on The Witchwood Crown. It was actually Ben from Books with Benghis Khan who hosted that, and Nikhil from Shelf Esteem was there, and Andy Smith. And the four of us are going through this series, The Last King of Osten-Ard, and just wow. I was also part of a audiobook release party for Jenny Wirtz, whose Wars of Light and Shadow series is slowly but steadily being released on audiobook. It's about time. And the wonderful Jake from Nerd Level Rising was hosting that, and I was very privileged to take part in a very fun discussion. I was in two chats, with Michael from Author Adjacent, and the first one was just a sort of a general chat with me about my books and being an author and that sort of thing, and it was a lot of fun, my inspirations. I had a great time with that. I also chatted with Michael about AI and my feelings about AI and in terms of the creative realms, let's say. And if you've been following me, you probably know that I'm not a huge fan of AI replacing human creativity, but you can hear me elaborate on that position in that video with Michael. I was also on Two to Ramble as we talked about whether or not fantasy is real literature. And again, if you know me, you know my response to that, but it was a really great discussion with Richard and Austin over there on Two to Ramble. Now, what am I reading or what have I read recently? Well, I read Interview with a Vampire by Anne Rice. This was a Quill Illuminati read, and we were supposed to talk about this this month in March. Unfortunately, a couple of our members, our wonderful friends, were unable to do so for various reasons, for good reasons, but we are hoping that this discussion will happen. I did read the book. I'm not going to say a lot about it, though, because I want to save my thoughts for that discussion, which John from Talking Story will be hosting. And I'm glad I read this, though. I will say that. But I'm looking forward to sharing my thoughts with the Quill Illuminati. And my current read is Empire of Grass. I was just talking about The Last King of Osten-Ard by Tad Williams. I am adoring this. I don't know, about a third of the way through right now, and we'll be chatting with that group that I mentioned earlier about this. But yeah, just wow. More when I have the discussion, but I'm loving it. And stuff that I just have here on the horizon. I'm going to be continuing in P.L. Stewart's series, the wonderful Drowned Kingdom saga. This is book 3. Lord and King. So I've had a discussion about books 1 and 2 with a wonderful group of people, and the fantastic Zachary Shea, or Shea from the channel Zachary Shea, is hosting these discussions. And so we in April are going to be reading this one. And of course, I have to continue with the GKR with the Lions of Al Rassan. I'm so excited to be reading this, and a wonderful group of people will be discussing this with me, and that'll include Dr. Aaron Keating and Joanna, as well as, of course, Evan from the Nerd Writer. And yeah, just top tier stuff, guys. Why did I wait so long to read all of Guy Gavriel Kay's books? I do not know, but at least I'm correcting that now. Gormenghast. So we need to read Gormenghast here, the second book in the Gormenghast novels. I had a great time talking with Jay from A Contemplative Reader about the first book, Titus Grown. And he and I'm not sure how far along Jay is in this, but we have to talk about the next two, Gormenghast and Titus Alone. So that's something that I am hoping to get to probably in April. I got to tackle the next two books in Raymond Feist's the Rift War stuff. So that is, I don't know which one's first. I think Silverthorn is the second book, and A Darkness at Sethanon is the third. Doesn't say anywhere, so hopefully I'm right on that. But anyway, I'm going to be continuing with this. And I had a fun time with Magician. It's not something that totally blew me away here, but it was fun. It was very nostalgic, too. Having read Magician back in the day, it was a long time ago that I read it, so it was a reread. But these two I haven't actually read before, so I'll be curious to see what Raymond Feist does with those. And I need to get to my friend Von Roycroft's book 3 in his fantastic Sundered Nation trilogy. I keep wanting to get to this, and I will. Destiny's Doom. I loved the first two books. and I have a feeling that this is going to be one heck of a conclusion to that trilogy. So these are things I'm hoping to get to relatively soon, as well as some audiobook listens. Let me talk about those as well before I leave you all. I am going to be listening. I have been listening to the Sun Eater books, as I said earlier. And so Halloween Dark I have finished, and I'm looking forward to what's next. But I also have on tap on audiobook Blood Reunion, the next book in the Hybrid Helix series by J.C.M. Byrne. I also have No Heart for a Thief, which I'm really looking forward to, and I actually have a copy of that here somewhere or other. Here, there we go. No Heart for a Thief by James Lloyd Doolin. And so I have an audiobook of it now, and that has definitely jumped it up for me in terms of when I can get to it. I've been meaning to get to this for a long time, and I feel bad that I haven't read it. So there's just a bunch of really wonderful people whose books I have waiting to read, and I'm hoping to get to them as I can. But I am doing one at least or more indie authors a month here. So I am actually probably averaging at least 2, maybe even 3 sometimes. I'll be getting to you all. And then I also have Don't Die Dave by A.R. Witham, or Andy as we all call him around here. And I'm looking forward to that. It's a new book. It's a lit RPG. I'm excited to check it out because Andy narrates it himself. So I'm looking forward to listening to that audiobook. So, whoa! Enough, I guess. And I'll be doing all kinds of things all over the place as well. But that's probably enough, isn't it? I think so. Yeah, it was good catching up with you all. And thank you for all of your support. But that is it for me for now. Until next time.